How is it that a movie we have waited this long for was so bad? And here's where I would normally have a fancy intro, my intro card, and hello everyone, I am Mecca Random 42 from an undisclosed location for a couple of weeks here. Apologies. I am the one, the only, the original, your favorite YouTube consumer advocate, Harpy, and I am shocked that this movie was not nearly as good as it could have been. I wanted this to be better, because after months and months and months of waiting, I wanted this to be a better movie. There will be full spoilers, so warning, and I don't have my spoiler warning here, but this movie was just not a good movie. It was long, boring. Every time something interesting happened, they would stop and slow the pace down even more with this, the slow strings. The slow strings, like, oh, something sad's happening, so we have the slow strings, we gotta slow everything to a crawl. That's this movie. Gal Gadot, really good in this because she's good in everything. Kristen Wiig, I didn't hate in this, even though I really don't like Kristen Wigging. That kind of awkward mousy character, but she did a good job showing some acting ability in this one. She's actually pretty good. She was probably one of the better parts of this. Her kind of going from this squirrely mousy woman to this confident, All right, spoiler. You've been warned. Consider yourself warned. Click away now after I tell you that it's kind of not that great of a movie. It's not that great of a movie. Save your money. Don't watch it. Now we'll get into spoilers. All right, I did that backwards. I'm sorry. Don't know if I'm going to be able to edit a lot in this video either, or to put any pop-ups or even put a thumbnail on for all I know, but this movie is one of those monkey's paw, be careful what you wish for sort of things. So Kristen Wiig and Gal Gadot, they're both working at the Smithsonian, I guess. Gal Gadot's in charge of Wonder Woman. Diana, she's in charge of more of like the anthropology, and she can speak all these languages. Kristen Wiig's character is like gemology and cryptozoology and some other things. I can't remember. So she studies like Bigfoot and gemstones. And geology, gemology, all those things. So they have this citrine, basically, version of a monkey's paw, where, so spoilers, be careful what you wish for, because it might come true. That is the gist of a monkey's paw sort of story, and that's what this was. This was a very, very long Treehouse of Horror episode that did not end, and I know those are all based on Twilight Zone, so you can, correct me if you want or not, it's fine. Diana, they don't know that they're wishing for things like right away. Diana wishes to see Steve back. She can't get over him. They spend way too much time setting up how much she's pining for him. And I guess she probably, pining for Chris Pine. No pun intended there. They probably wouldn't have been able to do it without that, maybe. But here's where I really have a problem with this movie. You had two bad guys and you really only needed one. The movie was almost, 3 hours long? It feels like, it felt way longer. It was over 2 hours. It should have only been about an hour and 45 minutes, give or take. They should have cut out one of the bad guys, right? So the Kristen Wiig bad guy, we all know, spoiler, she's going to come and turn into Cheetah towards the end. Her wish is to be like Diana, because she's this mousy girl. She wants to be confident. She wants to be strong, sexy, amazing, a quote-unquote strong female character. She wants to be one of those. And she's jealous of Diana. But and even Diana, like, they show how she's like a decent character and not just a complete piece of trash, where she does recognize that, okay, Kristen Wiig's character is really mousy, Barbara's really mousy, and she just wants some friends. She just wants to be liked, and she doesn't have anybody pay attention to her. She doesn't have anybody like her. That could have been a really, really good sort of deal. That really could have been a good deal, and then they could have had it only been them, because that was the whole dilemma of the thing. They accidentally wish for things. So Diana accidentally wishes that Steve's back, but there's a catch, right? And there's always a big catch. Diana's catch, and we don't really realize it right away, is that she is now losing her superpowers. So that's kind of the catch there. Now the new catch is that Kristen Wiig is gaining the superpowers but losing her humanity and her ability to have compassion and be kind and caring to people. That would have been all you needed. You could have made this journey and the story of how these two female characters become like really, really good friends after they go through this journey, right? They could have done that, because it's the same at the end. Towards later on, Kristen Wiig gets another wish through the other character. We'll talk about him in a second. We'll talk about him, because we got a lot to say about Pedro Pascal's character in this one. The orange man batting and all that stuff. We'll get into that. But the Kristen Wiig stuff, she does end up wishing to be like this apex predator. She wants to be the best of the best. She wants to be the top of everything, cock of the walk, all of those. So she ends up turning into a cheetah character, erasing another ginger, by the way, in the comic book genres and movie genres. Just had to throw that in because I saw that on Twitter last night, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. So they could have done that arc because, of course, at the end of the day, you can renounce, and this is where this movie would have been shorter if they would have realized, like, towards the end, that you have to renounce your wish and then everything's back to normal. But no, they had to up and up and up the scale and up the consequences and up the ante by bringing in this other character, which we also get the same lesson. It's the exact same lesson, but I guess you needed him to give Kristen Wiig the extra wish so that she could wish to be the best of the best once she's already got. So here we come with this other. Yeah, you're supposed to only get one wish. Not necessarily on this. Also, sorry for everything behind me. This is the best light. No, normally we could have done that Ninja Turtles poster back there. I know you guys like, but like I said, undisclosed location temporarily for a couple of weeks. Pedro Pascal's character, when he is not being upstaged by a Baby Yoda puppet. And I know his name's Grogu, but we still call him Baby Yoda because Baby Yoda is awesome and we love him. When Pedro Pascal is not being upstaged by Baby Yoda, he is an overacting, overdramatic. I have no idea who he was trying to be, but he was basically playing a J.R. Ewing character if people didn't know the difference between J.R. Ewing and Donald Trump. And that's really the best I can say about this, is that we don't, like, I didn't see, this is supposed to be this allegory for, Orange Man bad. Basically, this guy's kind of like a businessman. He's kind of a pyramid scheme businessman where he's not really selling anything except, everything you want is it can be your wish. And then he realizes that he made that wish that he wants to grant everybody's wishes, and that's his wish. But then he can kind of manipulate people and say, don't you wish I had, a shortcut to the airport? Don't you wish I had an interview or a meeting with the president in the Oval Office? Don't you wish I had all that stuff? And that's how his character arc goes and becomes. This movie spends way too long. Oh, and he's got a kid, and he spends like so much time calling for his kid. I thought he was calling for Aiden. No, it's Alistair is the kid's name. He spends like 10 minutes of this movie calling Alistair. I don't even remember what the relationship was between him and this kid and why I'm supposed to care. That's how boring it was. I kept getting poked every few minutes, like, oh, you're falling asleep, because I would hear the movie pause, and then I get poked by somebody I was watching the movie with here, and I didn't miss any of it, in case you guys are wondering. No, I didn't miss any of it. It was really slow. Like, stopped to go and clean out the fridge. Stopped to do pretty much anything else because, oh no. And this movie could have been really, really good. And I was really looking forward to this. I was really, really disappointed because, like I said, this is the first movie we've had in who knows how long, in months and months and months and months and months. I know they had Tenet out, but this is like the first one. And I'm still waiting on that Murder on the Orient Express one. Or no, Death on the Nile with Gal Gadot, the new Poirot. That was supposed to be out in Thanksgiving. I don't even know if that's out. If that's out, let me know. I'd much rather watch that. But, I mean, because I like Gal Gadot. I liked elements of this movie. I think last night when I did the live stream about it, I think I gave it maybe about a 4 out of 10. I would probably go, I mean, I might give it a little bit more just because it wasn't that bad. It had some pretty moments. Wonder Woman's lasso is now a freaking Spider-Man web slinger. She can just fling herself around and sling off of, she can just go like, boom, and now she's attached to a jet. Oh, we see the invisible plane finally for about a split second, because like I said, she gets Steve back because she wishes for him back, but then she loses her powers, and then, of course, well, we know how that's going to end, right? Well, I'm not going to spoil everything for you if you do want to see this movie. Not that I recommend it. I don't recommend it. I really, really don't. You don't really need to see it. It's not that interesting or great. The first one was better. The first one was way better, and that was just a World War I movie. And it had some cute elements. Like that one was so much more believable than this one. This one was just slow. It was just really, really slow. They tried to make it too dramatic. They should have made this a lot more fun, a lot more 80s. I was so let down that it didn't have more, and for something that's like a 1980s movie, Rob and I were watching this, and we were like, okay, what Frankie Goes to Hollywood song is that? Is that Relax? No, it's not Relax. It's not Two Tribes. I don't think so. That's Frankie Goes to Hollywood. And that was as much as our Frankie Goes to Hollywood knowledge was. As much as, and that's what I was looking forward to, right, was the 80s stuff. I was looking forward to the 80s music, the 80s nostalgia, the retro stuff, stuff that I grew up on. No, you don't really have a lot of that in this. You have little sprinkles of it. You have like the opening mall scene, and you have a lot of people in it. But it's more of a, hey, remember the 80s, remember the 80s, remember these, instead of a, here's how it was in the 80s when we were living. It was more of a, is that like when people were watching like Happy Days and it was just so 1950s all over the place, where it just felt like references to it? Because that's what it felt like here. It didn't even feel organically 1950 or 1980s rather. It didn't feel like it was until the very beginning. It really, because it could have taken place anytime. It really didn't have to take place in the 80s at all. So, what else? I think that was about all I have to say about this movie. It's not that great. I was disappointed. Oh, the invisible plane. She just kind of wishes it into existence for about a minute because she wants to show Steve a plane. Oh, there's a bunch of with the Steve stuff we got to talk about. So Steve, his little catch about how he's back. Do you guys want it spoiled or not? If you don't want that spoiled, then turn away now because this will be the last thing I talk about on this video. Yeah, about a 4 out of 10. That's about all I can give this movie. Steve stuff. Steve. Okay, so the stuff with Steve, he ends up embodying another pilot entirely, right? He comes in like it's a different face. He sees somebody else in the mirror, but his spirit, and he's following Diana for a couple of days, and she doesn't really know it's him, and then they finally meet up, and then he says, here's everything, and here's what I gave you, and here. So it's a different, but she sees in her head that it's Chris Pine, but it's a different guy. And she bangs this different guy with Steve's spirit inside of him, like he's possessed by Steve. Is that not a Me Too-able moment there? Because that's what it feels like to me. It feels like that's a Me Too-able moment where she should have been Me Too'd. Shame on her, right? But I mean, I guess it was sweet that they got to spend the night together, sort of. Movies. Oh, I can see where they were going. If they had like taken away and tightened up and just made, but then you wouldn't have Kristen Wiig turn into the cheetah character later, right? Then you wouldn't have had that. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe she would have. Maybe if she would have, instead of just wishing to be like Diana, she should. But I think they did it for a reason where they built her up to be, and then she likes it, and then she wants more. So I can kind of see why they did it. I think I would have done it differently if I were making this movie, because I would have made it shorter. I would have made it more fun. I would have made it funnier. It was way too much of a heavy drama. It was way too much of a heavy romance. It wasn't fun. It really wasn't a fun movie to watch during the holidays. So, or when it was going to come out. As for the Orange Man bad stuff, I have no idea where they got that. Maybe I just didn't pay attention and don't know what the crap they're on about with that. But I don't remember Donald Trump being an oil J.R. Ewing sort of guy where he has all of these oil wells that don't hit, and then all of a sudden they do because he wished for it. Oh, and then that was the big bad guy at the end, was the entire planet. Because everybody, you got a guy going into a cafe somewhere in the UK. He's like, I wish you dropped dead. And then she does. So everybody's wishes start coming true, with consequences. That was the whole moral of the story. And then I guess she had to say, yes, let's have everybody renounce our wishes, because she gets on this big intercom at the end. Diana does, after Trump. It's not Trump, Pedro Pascal. He's supposed to be. It doesn't really remind me of him, but because that's how he gets everybody's wish. So that's the big bad plot, is that he makes it so that he can take everybody's wish. Oh, everybody wish for something. Of course, everybody's wishing for all kinds of crazy crap. And, like one girl wishes she's famous and she's working in a restaurant. But then, people wish for like really, really bad things, or really catastrophic things, or really, impactful things. And you can't. The lesson of this movie, it took 3 hours to get to, is you can't always get what you want. Mick Jagger told me that in 1960, 69, 1971, something like that. I know I wasn't alive then. But seriously, we already knew this lesson, and maybe it's a movie for millennials. They won't be able to pay attention to it. But hey, millennials, you're not always going to have your cake and eat it too. Sometimes you got to choose between one or the other, and sometimes you got to be grateful for what you have. that might be the message of the movie. It just took a very long, slow way of getting to it. You know, the you can't always get what you want sort of thing, or be careful what you wish for. Was it fun? No, it wasn't fun. It wasn't really entertaining. I really wish it would have been a little bit more fun and done a better job entertaining me. So tell me what you guys think in the comment section below. Have a Merry Christmas for what's left of it. I know this is Boxing Day when I'm recording this. Happy New Year, and I will see you guys on the next video, live stream, or whatever. Bye.